All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Omega Files, and I am your host, Dr. Freedom. We've gathered around this week to discuss the latest offering from Doctor Who Flux, Once Upon Time. And, as I said back when we did the War of the Sontaran, sooner or later they were going to have to do something to try to explain how the Doctor knows these guys and all that. And that's what they tried to do here is, through a series of, where people got flashed back into their own timelines. The Doctor gets dumped back into her own timeline, back in apparently the time of Joe Martin's Doctor. And if you say the word spoiler, if you haven't watched the episode by the time this goes up for recording, not my fault. Okay, so all right, I don't even want to hear it. So yeah, we have an appearance by Joe Martin's Doctor again, and it's very obvious, that we got the somehow we got the rest of this team that's going in to take out the quote unquote Ravagers, and it flashes back and forth here and there. Plus, I love the way they kind of mix and match characters because, like you had different actors portraying different parts and different memories because they're trying to sort out just exactly I think what's going on at first. You see, the Doctor doesn't realize that she's in a past memory. She's looking around, she's seeing, Dan, she's seeing Yaz, and she's seeing, this, vendor guy. And then it takes a while to realize, no, this is not Dan, Yaz, and vendor. This is, a whole different memory. So, like she even asked, why are you guys dressed like that? And all that. But it was kind of obvious also, from the firepower they were carrying, we were dealing with something to do with the division because we've seen those guns before. So, okay, but I want to hear you guys got to say on it before I start, trying to figure this out, because this was one big timey-wimey jump around. And I think I'll tell you what, maybe if you figure out the end of Evangelion, you could figure out just exactly what was going on here for a while. All right. So we're going to start from the bottom of this time. William, what did you think of Once Upon a Time?
Well, the thing is, seeing the way that the ending was from the last week, it was a quick escape for the Doctor with the companions, which was a good thing. And then of course the Doctor, they even though the TV are watching them, they are playing other characters' roles. The only one that stayed the same was the Doctor is supposedly the renegade Doctor that from Bill Martin. That's suppose that's who she's playing. Um, the good thing is, in a way, it was a good escape for the Doctor and the companion for they don't face death from these villains, but it also opened up a can of worms that they jumped around so much in their timeline. For instance, Yaz said she never experienced this in her past. It never happened to her yet at all. I mean, the past has not happened, and of course, then facing like the girl and all that, then he's noticing that this is not really what it is because he saw those little. I thought there was the Vasta Nevada the way, but they were eating characters like that. So he figured out he wasn't there, but at the same time, when they showed the Doctor dealing with these characters way back in supposedly dark times, they were still played by the same actors. In a way, I had to watch it twice because those playing multiple roles confused me a little bit. So I had to realize that it's them, but they are playing other characters. Just like in certain scenes, you saw them become somebody else in a quick image, so it's not really Yaz, it's not really Vendor. That they're just playing part of a role. So in a way, luckily it was explained. The thing in there, I think somebody here might mention it. Excuse me, is that a lot of a big stink that people saying that they're showing now that the renegade Doctor is really the Doctor that and the next three final episodes next year. But now they're saying this is disrupting past stories and past of way back like that. So it doesn't explain why Matt Smith needed a whole new set of regenerations. It doesn't explain why if the Doctor regenerates from being injured or like in the first Doctor aging, and if it's supposed to rebuild himself from harm, whether he comes back younger or whatever, how come his memory is still erased from way back if he was the renegade doctor? Why is that memory still erased during all these regenerations? That's a big that. But again, these are questions that hopefully does get answered, in the next 3 episodes. With this, now we're in the halfway mark, or the specials next year. So that hopefully that explains that. It's a great story. I'm not saying it sucks. It's a good story, but it opened up a can of worms there that I hopefully get rectified, because if it doesn't, there's going to be a big stink about it. And I'm not talking about all of us here who has internet and see Facebook and all that. There's a lot of griping going around that he's doing things that I understand it's good for story wise, but you have to rectify it, not leave it hanging like that, because you could say it's gonna cause a little bit of I don't know, maybe people might stop watching it once and for all, because they might get pissed off at that, but also at the same time we got to remember that some of us here do listen to Big Finish audios, so now that's a little bit altering some of the story wise there, which I'm not going to get into that. That's another thing. So it's a good episode. And I like the way, the only question that bugged me out, how the hell freaking damn Angel gets to get inside TARDIS and it still moves around when people are looking at it? You got 3 people looking at it and it still moves. I'm like, that don't make no sense. I said, hopefully that gets answered next week. Well, in our case, tomorrow. Because that left me like that. I mean, that's the time you notice that there's a 6-part episode. It ends to the build-up of the next episode. But hopefully it gets answered. It gets answered right there. That's my opening statement there.
I figure it's the same way that a Statue of Liberty angel could just stroll through New York, which at that time period had a population of about 5 million people. And
it was
nobody
New Year's
looked.
Eve and everybody was drunk. They didn't see shit.
Okay, DWC.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Brutally honest, Brian, you've kind of ruined something that I was putting for the end of this, but nonetheless, what do you do when time is about to flow through someone you care about to the point it could break them? Apparently, put someone else in that same danger as the Doctor did by pushing Dan onto a pillar as well as herself. A great distance. This episode was able to provide new backstory and character development, or in Dan and Yaz's case, backstory that didn't happen, with Dan reliving a meeting with Diane that didn't happen, and Yaz reliving an entire past that didn't happen because her time is changed by a weeping angel. And yes, they do still call them video games. Linda, however, we learn a great deal, being part of a military force run by line-of-duty actor Craig Parkinson, who unfortunately, like many one-time villains in Doctor Who, came across as a pantomime villain. And it's through this we learn how Vinda ended up on that outpost. Also, seems he knows what a TARDIS is. The Doctor, meanwhile, is reliving a memory long forgotten as part of the division. And now we know why Swarm knows her. We also learn Passenger is a prison, one of which is storing Diane. One thing this episode certainly failed to answer was why on earth were all the other characters appearing as companions? Guess we'll never know. We'll never know. But what I hope to know, will Vinda ever find Bell and their unborn child? Will Bell escape the Dalek Cybermen and Zontaran Empires? And just who was the mystery woman the Doctor meets? And what does she mean when she says the flux is because of the Doctor? Overall, things are getting exciting, and I'm looking forward to where it ends.
Okay, Graham?
Wow, follow that. There was an awful lot of stew in the gumbo pot here, guys. But I enjoyed it. I love the fact that you got the innovative resolution to the cliffhanger with them jumping into the time storm, to get the backstory of both the Mori as well as the Ravagers, and somewhat memory of Joe Martin's Doctor in the Division. So that was interesting. I've seen a lot of complaints online about how this was confusing. No, for me. You know, you had Belle in her adventure after the events of the Flux. You had Dan and Yaz in corrupted versions of their own time stream. Fair enough, pretty self-explanatory. And you had the Doctor trying to, pull it all back together. So it wasn't that confusing for me. I mean, some of the complaints that if you were to take Chris Chibnall's name off this and put Stephen Moffat's name on it, to a portion of this fandom, it would be hailed as a timey-wimey masterpiece. It's just the way the internet rolls these days, folks, unfortunately. But for me, I enjoyed this, and I'm interested to see where the Village of the Angels goes next week. Bring it on.
Okay, AJ.
Yeah, I agree with Graham. It wasn't that complicated to follow what was going on, just because they were tied to the Doctor and they were in the Doctor's time stream. So they kept repeating these characters representing other characters. Very Life on Mars-ish almost, sort of. I don't know. I'm still really confused about this whole time stream thing. The Doctor has jumped into her own time stream, yet Clara and Matt Smith did it in that thing, and we didn't see anything beyond Hartnell. Hartnell was like the bottom of the pit. So either Chibnall was rewriting everything we know about everything, or there's another twist to the story we haven't seen coming yet. I'm not sure. But I think it was kind of cool. We got to see, the division, or the CIA, I guess, the precursors of the CIA, maybe. The only reason I find it really bad was they just inverted the colors on Jodie's jacket to represent the previous Doctor. That was all they did. And the costume was still the same. It did leave me a little bit confused towards the end, like with the Weeping Angel being in the TARDIS and just flying it wherever it's going to next. So we'll see what happens when that is tomorrow for us. But so far, so confused.
Okay. Callan?
Just update my notes. Sorry, I'm not. But I liked Belle. I liked the floating Daleks there. That's quite cute. They're not floating a wee fraction too high for me. I like Joe Martin as Doctor. I think she might be from another dimension. That's why would I know her. That's so much. And Glenn Sutton was played by Craig Barkerson. I think he was the third probation worker in Misfits. A bit too tiny-wimey for me. Good sound.
I know. So yeah, I liked the character of Belle. Yeah, it was pretty well done. Yeah, I got to admit that. Especially the part with the siren, and of course she's evading the Daleks and all that. And it's like first thing I saw when she picks up that little hand that they're doing the emojis on there. I'm like, oh my god, not them little freaking things again. From back in the Capaldi area, the Smilers, whatever they were. Yeah. Oh, those things were crazy. Like I said, one of my scenes that had me laughing, though, it gave me a good chuckle, was when she's in, Yaz is in the cop car, in the police car, and she looks over and it's the Doctor sitting there ranting on and on something about coupons on a store or something like that, and then, or some kind of offer 3 for what, and then boom, it turns out it's not the Doctor, it was her, another patrol officer. And I was like just giggling on that part. It was just so silly and random, but at the same time, okay, no, it was the Doctor. Plus, it's like, and then of course she pops in on Dan. I'm trying not to be conspicuous or something like that. Yet she's hanging there in the middle of the freaking air. It's like, come on. Plus, I got another laugh because somebody came up with an interesting thing that had me scratching my head a bit, but I know it has nothing to do with it. How many here remember an episode called The Time Monster, where at the end of the episode, they confront this being, you had the Master's TARDIS, Doctor's TARDIS, and somebody said, it's kind of funny how, the makeup on the Moray kind of reminds us a lot of how Kronos appeared, at the end of the episode in human form, the gold face and all that. So there, it was an interesting parallel. I got to say that. I was like, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but one of those weird episodes, kids, it happened a long time ago, probably before most of you were born. Yeah, that episode, Time Monster. But go look it up. It's Pertwee. You can't go wrong with Pertwee. Okay, DWC, you got your hand up. You go on ahead.
Just want to make one thing. I think it's kind of on what AJ was saying, but something about how I think that with me was how the Weeping Angel was able to pilot the TARDIS, which I thought was kind of interesting. Of all the races were that, but I think there has been a long-standing fan theory, or I think long-standing, that the Weeping Angels are actually Time Lords, and I don't know, maybe they're actually going to make that fan theory canon. I have no idea. That would be interesting. It would give a origin to the Weeping Angels in a very interesting way, but just a random observation more than anything.
Yeah, that started with that line from Timothy Dalton in The End of Time. I think it was part 2, where he says, "Let them stand with their faces hidden in shame, like the weeping angels of old." Then all of a sudden goes, "Wait a minute, they're former Time Lord." Yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, that's not what he said. It's like, oh, sheesh. But you know how this fandom goes. You got the Series 6B theory. You got all these other weird things running around that people hold as canon. My other favorite one, the Doctor only had one heart till he regenerated. Oh my God, I've heard that one I don't know how many times now. Oh, but like I said, very interesting episode. Like I said, I can say this: it wasn't boring. I was tied in. I can see where some people might have gotten confused, but it's like, no, I can see exactly what they were going at here. You're getting a little bit of exposition at the same time. You're seeing how time is not going the way it should be, because as Graham brought up, you got Dan in a memory he of an event that as far as we know did not happen. Then we got Yaz, the same thing. She goes, "Wait a minute, I don't remember that ever happening." It's kind of like a Mandela effect mind blow there. So you never know. Okay, anyone? Oh yeah, AJ, you got your hand up. You go on in.
Yeah, the Doctor actually kind of explained that. She actually said you're in your own time stream. So anything and everything that's happening is either past, present, or possible future. So that stuff is obviously yet to happen. So that's what I heard, at least anyway. So I don't want to contradict anyone.
Yeah, in Yaz's case, I think so. But yeah, when Dan was talking to what's her name, she said something about you never showed up for that particular meeting or whatever. Towards the end. So it could be for Yaz, that could be a future event. They'd be kind of freaky to find out that's her daughter or something. Wouldn't that be a pickle? All right, Graham, you go on it.
Yeah, I'm finding it interesting that we got the revelation, obviously, that Cavanista was on Joe Martin's Doctor's division squad. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds, because that happens back to obviously Jodie's Doctor quizzing them in the Halloween Apocalypse about you're the only one alive now that knows about the division. So there's a memory wipe for you. Explain that one, doggy.
Yeah, how old is that mutt? That had to have happened how many years ago? And it's like, what's that in dog ears? Okay, anyone else? Thoughts? Ideas? Oh yeah, go ahead, William. Sorry, your hands were being blatted out by your background.
I forgot which one the button is. The funny thing is that I like how Vinder is looking for his girlfriend who is pregnant, and then he stayed on his home world and noticed it was this, it's all messed up. Well, and we the watchers are not aware who did that. Was it a war? Was it one of these alien attacks by some tyrant, a Dalek, or Cyberman? We have to wait to find out, because we know that his girlfriend is still looking for him. We don't even know if she's on the same planet or somewhere else, because remember she's been traveling in different places looking for him, which is unusual, because in time going on, she will be getting more bigger in her pregnancy, so it will be hard for her to move around like that the way she was fighting the Cybermen. So that's going to be a little bit hard for her. So hopefully they could hook up before that happens. What was unusual is I like the way she talked to the Cybermen, saying, "What are you here for? After you got everything, what is there for you to do?" And it's funny, she put him in his place. There's nothing for you to do except to drop that, and she blasted him right there, because his you can say theory, it has a hole in it, because they want and there's nothing more for them to do after that. I say, that makes no sense. And then of course the Daleks has a real reason, because they believe themselves to be the superior race, and everything's inferior should be wiped out by them, either be wiped out or used as slaves. So that's at least the Daleks has an excuse why they're doing that. But the Cybermen just left my head scratching. Like, what is your reason? Because in the photo behind me, you see it. The reason why they became Cybermen was to survive the cold and the destruction that was going on in their planet. So now your excuse to continue converting these new species has no merit. It has no it has no drive for it. That makes no sense.
Okay, AJ.
Sorry, something that I noticed in the episode too. The guy that Vinder was dealing with in his past, the Grand Serpent. To me, his mannerisms and the way he dressed, he looks very similar to Swarm. If you look at Swarm's shoulders, one shoulder is slightly higher than the other in his outfit. And it was the same with the Grand Serpent. He had one shoulder that was slightly higher than the other. He had the same movements as well. So maybe there's a tie there, maybe. I don't know.
I know the Grand Serpent. That is like, okay, that's a weird title. Okay, DWC.
Just wanted to talk more about the Flux itself more than anything, because last week we got the whole thing with that the Doctor went to the Crimean War and the Zontarans were apparently there since forever, and yet in the present day they'd only arrived two days ago. And that is kind of something in that the Flux. I mean, Swarm did say something, I'm sure it's written down here somewhere, about how it's the Flux is destroying space, which in sense is destroying time, which does make me think more about Belle as destroyed by the Flux. And I keep thinking, is this just in her future? As everything, all events of time, just completely out of sync with each other? That's just another observation, which I thought, what exactly is happening in all this? As the Flux just completely eliminated time as a concept?
Okay, Graham.
Now, the stuff in Belle's timeline, from her point of view, is after the events of the Flux. That's how you've got the Cybermen, the Daleks, and the Sultarans on different factions. It's quite funny. I was kind of expecting, when you got that wee cameo of the Daleks rolling by, I was expecting subtitles to come up saying annual cameo to pay the Terry Nation estate. But alas, it didn't.
Gratuitous Dalek appearance. I did like the way they kind of did them, though, because it looked like they're more hovering off the ground than they were rolling on it, the way they did the Daleks this time. So that was pretty interesting. Okay, anything else?
Here's the question. Because of Venda and Bell, because of them, what part of time do they come from? Because remember the destruction happened at a certain time, and then Venda ended up popping up and met the Doctor and all that. So we don't was that in like more into the future or more way in the back? I mean the past. And then of course same the question's gonna be with Bell, because the Bell is from Venda's home world before he got kicked off because of from the military, because of that. So, excuse me, he told about his superior being such a bad guy like that. And then the funny thing is, you notice that the home world where Venda lives at, you never heard the name of it, his home planet, at all. So I'm like, and because like I think DWC or Graham mentioned about, he knew what a TARDIS was, and I'm like, like he has to be such an advanced species that they know about TARDISes, and of course that, well, somebody mentioned that the blame of the swarm of the catastrophe that's eating the planet is supposedly caused by the Doctor. So I say it's just a side effect of the Time War, or what's left of it, so to speak, because I don't know how you can say all those chrono destruction and the destruction of different times in history of what happened and what that did not exist and did it exist? Was that what caused the villain to escape from his imprisonment? That's a weird question. I got to ask about that because he hates time. He wants to destroy time, and I'm like, well, in order for you to exist, to breathe, to walk and talk, you need time because it takes time to do any little thing that you're not. You want to put yourself. If you hated time so much, you should have stayed frozen where you were. That makes no that character is a little bit perplexing. We don't know if that's it, the way he looks. Is that the way he always did, or did something happen that made him look like that? And the same thing with the female. Again, 3 more episodes. Hopefully, we get something done.
Okay, Graham.
3 quick points. So just he did say, I thought they were the stuff of legends. I didn't think they were real. So there's a wee bit of dubiety there, but I can understand why people are going, oh, how does he know I went there? Well, everything's got to be answered in the here and now for today's generation. My God. Number 2, is it just me, or does anybody else want an answer to this body liver puddling industrialist that keeps showing up at random points? I know he had a laser gun last week. He had a laser gun this week with Dan, and he was in the temple last week with Yaz. I mean, answer. This guy must tie it all together somehow. He keeps popping up. So I'm interested to see you get an answer with regards to him. And finally, the Ravagers. They let the Doctor jump into the time stone. Do what you had today to find out how it was done in the past, to do it again in the future. You disrupted time. That was our end. That was our end game. And then they just let her and her companions walk off. All right, fair enough. I'm glad you were happy with your day's work. Whatever.
Okay, AJ.
Just about that, I think what Will was talking about, I think we saw it saying about Swarm, why he wants to destroy time. Maybe he wants to destroy time because time technically is decay, death, entropy. Maybe he just wants to become immortal. Destroying time maybe would make you immortal. And also about the flux, maybe it's actually a remnant of the time war, because remember the Rassilon, he said the final solution was to destroy everything in the universe and become beings of pure consciousness. What happens if this is a Time Lord weapon that just got out into the universe by accident?
Well, that explains why they say it's the Doctor's fault, because the Doctor was the one that had that weapon that was used to destroy the end of Time War.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, every major catastrophe in this show that tends to happen tends to be the Doctor's fault. It's just par for the course, regardless of who the writer is, So
Plus, and I'm trying to remember which story it was. I think it was one of the first War Doctor stories, because he wound up on this planet, and because of the fact the Time War had gone through that section or that area that the particular world occupied, that they would never know peace or something like that in their time, because of the way it affected them. And I can't remember the name of the story offhand, but it could be that. It could be a leftover effect of the Time War. We're not sure. Okay, DWC, you go on ahead.
Well, just on the topic of that idea of a leftover effect of the Time War, well, would that have even happened now, given the events of the 50th anniversary, where the whole of Gallifrey was then put in a pocket unit button, like he was eventually going to?
The Time War still happened. It's just the outcome that was different.
Yeah, I know that, but the reason for the outcome was because of a big red button that the Doctor had to push, but the Doctor changed things so he didn't have to push it.
But
the war still happened,
The ending still happened that Gallifrey was gone, even though we know it left out of space and time.
Yeah, but
and
it wasn't.
The Daleks destroy each other. But everything else that happened during the Time War, it still happened. And of course, the weapon itself, remember the weapon itself is has consciousness. So we don't know what happened with that thing.
But the Gallifrey wasn't destroyed the same way. That was the point.
No, it wasn't destroyed, but it left out of space and time. So everybody thought it was destroyed with the Daleks during the end of the Time War. Just
Yeah.
he just altered what happened, the ending, but it was is still gone.
But basically, he just altered the ending. Everything, all the destruction in the Time War still happened. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. He changed it so Gallifrey came back, and then it got blown up again. But well.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, so it could be a leftover effect of something that went wrong there. As I said, it could be, as usual, as Graham said, it's probably the Doctor's fault. The Doctor always does something that's going to blow
It's
up
been the
universe.
Doctor's fault since Bill Hartnell all the way through Jodie Whittaker and beyond. Whoever's next, it'll be their fault as well. Whatever.
Check the fornicator. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anything you want to talk about the episode, or as I think everybody's chimed in. So, okay. So we're going to start at the.
I still like to know how Weeping Angel got in the TARDIS.
Very simple. I can explain it easy.
Video game phone. Yeah, you go.
Well, not only that, remember, as he said, the effects of the flux are not doing good things to the TARDIS, because as we've seen since the beginning of this season, we actually saw the TARDIS like leaking, or could say bleeding this fluid. Then we got the entrance bouncing all over the place. Then it got to the point that the TARDIS wouldn't even let anybody in. Didn't have an entrance at all. You had that part where Jodie's running around, you can't find the doors. So it could just be the fact that the TARDIS has been weakened by this.
Can I just say, the events of the Flux aren't doing good things to the Doctor Who logo and all the social media channels either. It's bloody green now, and I'm not happy. Yeah.
Okay, AJ.
Yeah, just on how the Weeping Angel got in the TARDIS. It was on Yaz's phone. Remember, the image of an angel can become an angel itself. So it was already on her phone, and it saved as an image, and it just popped into existence.
Yeah, Moffat opened the door on that one. Bad Moffat. Yeah, that whole image of an angel can become an angel. And I'm like, yeah, and how many people were staring straight into the thing's faces and blink, and they didn't turn into angels, did they? But okay. But also, that's back when we first encounter them and they'd zap you back in time. Then the next time they're popping people's necks and taking their consciousness. But
let's not bring up Angel Bob. Moving on.
Yeah, Angel Bob.
And you forgot them taking over a school.
So, yeah, the Weeping Angels, it seems like they change every 5 minutes anymore, in TV time. Because it's like, first they're doing this, and they're doing this, and now they're doing this. Wait a minute, you can't look at it. If you look at an angel, it's not going to move. And it's like, yeah, but like I said, you've got Statue of Liberty angel marching through New York when, in the middle of the night. And it's like, ugh. Sorry, I don't think they make Nikes in her size, Ray. Okay. So, anything else before we move on? Everybody got it off their chest. Okay, so starting at the top, out of 10, Callan, how do you rate Once Upon Time?
Well, I'll just give the usual 7 minutes.
Okay. All right, Graham?
Interesting concept, interesting backstory while moving the story forward. I'll rate an 8.5 out of 10.
All right. AJ?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it was quite interesting.
Okay, DWC?
6 from me.
All right. Okay, that's the lowest one so far. William?
Oh, yeah, good. Even though we had some good questions to ask on this episode, it was a great episode. And I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It was, like I said, I wasn't bored. I wasn't way out. There were a couple of parts they could have executed a little bit better. But like I said, to me, it wasn't confusing at all. It was pretty straightforward. Time's messed up. This is happening. That's happening. It's like, hey, it was a fun ride. Plus, we got another glimpse of the fugitive doctor, as they're calling her. They've dubbed her. So, all in all, like I said, pretty good episode. So far, I know a lot of people out there were going, oh my God, Chibnall wrote all the episodes. But so far it's been pretty entertaining. We're halfway through now. So, hey, all we can do is look forward to the next one, which is going to be Village of the Angels. Okay. So,
and this is a co-written one, so he only gets half the blame.
Yeah, I think this is the one he wrote with the lady who wrote Haunting of Via Diodati or something like that.
Yep, that's the one.
So,
yep.
So this is going to be an interesting concept to see, what's going on with the Angels. What's their game this time? Are they going to take over another private school in the middle of London for no reason?
Oh, dear God.
I'm sorry. That
Still
still sticks in my mind.
You got transfer of students now.
You can't blame Moffat for that one, kids. He just leased out the statue. Damn you,
Yeah,
perfectness. Oh, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had to bring that up this week because he was like going on and on about how he knew the BBC or something was going to do this with the episode. He knew it wasn't going to be as way on. I can't remember what the exact quote was, but I'm like, he knew the show was going to be canceled or something like that. Yeah, but dude, you pulled the ripcord on your own show. How many months before they officially announced it? You bailed out of the plane before it even landed, dude. It's like you knew it was going to tank, and you were trying to get as far away from the scene of the crash as you could. I'll be 5 feet outside the blast radius, when this bomb hits. So, but that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother time. Until next time, everybody, like I said, I'm not sure when we're going to be getting recording done on the next episode because, we got Chicago TARDIS coming up. I'm looking forward to going to that, and I'm hoping not all the guests have canceled by next week. Because we lost a few along the way, before we got to this point. But it still looks like it's going to be an interesting time. So it'll get up there. We'll definitely get it done. It's just a matter of when, what time, and all that. So until our next journey into Doctor Who land, we'll see you all on the flip side. Have a good night. Take care, everyone. And remember, be kind.
Later.
Enjoy your turkey day. Enjoy your turkey day.
Happy Turkey Day when it comes, yeah.
That's right. I forgot. Thanksgiving's coming this week. That happy time of year when we jam bread up a turkey's butt.
Who's the lucky turkey going to be pardoned by Uncle Joe? Them they know? No.
And yet people make fun of haggis, and look at what we do to a freaking turkey.
Yeah. The name of the turkey that's getting pardoned, his first name is Donald.
Or is that one of my favorite memes said of the alien talking to the guy on the screen? He goes, "Last month they were lobotomizing pumpkins. Now they're shoving bread up a turkey's ass. This plan has issues, Bert." Oh well. Everyone, please take care. Don't eat too much turkey. All right, we'll catch you next time.
Gobble gobble.